Drinking beer today. This is a psychiatric report from Mark Cook, the counselor I'd been seeing for 2 years in Akron, Ohio in the 1990s. The report would go on to help determine eligibility for mental disability and SSI for a bipolar type mental illness. Mark Cook, my psychotherapist, wrote this out for SSI and Medicaid. Sean is well oriented to time and place. He's aware and interested in what's going on in the world. His mood fluctuates from depressed to acutely panicked, but he can overcome situations that are social that he has prepared for. But he avoids all situations that he can't control. He has some somatic preoccupation in relationship to his arthritis, but has learned to cover and not talk about this pain with persons who do not sympathize or understand that his symptoms are real. His agoraphobia, which involves a fear of panic attacks, is attempted to be kept under control with obsessive, compulsive thought system. Sean has a very strong religious belief that at times seems to become obsessive in order to keep undesirable or unacceptable feelings under control. His intellectual functioning is not impaired, and his keen ability to use recent and remote memory has been a very useful asset in psychotherapy. His diagnosis is 1. Anxiety disorder from the DSM-3 manual 300.21, and agoraphobia with panic attacks which demonstrate themselves in social situations, especially when he has commitments that have been made and the fear that he will not be able to meet the expectations of others and at the same time maintain his own physical and emotional boundaries. His daily activities have been severely restricted over the past 10 years. Sean has gradually gone from an athletic young man to at times almost a social recluse. He stays up at night and sleeps in the mornings. He is less anxious being awake when others are sleeping and being sleeping when others are working. He spends the time with himself and meditative thoughts, which often are compulsive thoughts. He does take long walks at night, which seem to be helpful for him. He is in the process of changing this behavior. His appearance is always neat and clean, and he tends to wear neutral-colored clothing. And even though he has more colorful clothing to wear, he seems to choose the same clothes over and over. This seems to be part of his conflict in terms of and concern about his compulsivity in terms of how people may perceive him. In the last job that Sean had, he had a great deal of difficulty with his supervisor, although he was able to function quite well when left to work independently. He is capable of following directions and needs to be allowed to interpret these the way he sees fit. He could maintain and follow repetitive tasks if, in fact, these tasks make some kind of realistic sense to him. He is not able to tolerate what most people would call ordinary stress and pressures of everyday work activities. He had to organize everything he does in order to meet both his physical limitations and his compulsive thought processes. Sean is able to manage his own affairs, and I'm sure would be able to manage any kind of benefits that would be granted to him. In Sean's application for disability in question 6, I feel that Sean describes very well his situation and many of his limitations. Although this is a very subjective position that he is writing from, in my work with him, I feel that he is really being honest and direct with his feelings and a description about what is going on in his life. I do not feel that he has any mental impairment and does have ability to reason and will be able to make some occupational and personal social adjustments as the agoraphobia becomes less and less. Sometimes I feel I don't get enough volume and distortion, and for some reason I recommend these people turn the volume down or up. Give me lunacy or give me death. Give me lunacy until my last breath. Give me the barbarian way. John the Baptist, a wild animal covered in sheepskin. I got the feeling he wasn't covered at all, eating locusts and alms. Baptized them with water from the river under the water. They called him crazy. They called him a lunatic down by the river. Call me crazy and half insane, but that won't stop me from the things I have to say. Someone said, Sean, your microphone sucks with distortion, so I'm going to be a little more tame and ask you to turn the motherfucker down. Truth like this is piercing armor, and you get run over by fucking pickup trucks. American soldiers looking through the junkyards to armor their SUVs that are blown up and mutilated by IUDs. We don't suffer in vain. It's a mistake and a mystery, and I don't understand it all. 10,000 twisted ankles since 1979, an equal number of panic and constant depression. Don't go anywhere, motherfucker. Don't go anywhere. We're just starting in this little procession. Got my Guinness, got my fucking knees. Had a panic attack, fearing I'd shit myself on the way to the liquor store. I'm a fucking loser. I'm a fucking whore, but I'd rather be in the gutter than listen to any more middle-class evangelical lies and watch themselves exalt themselves. Never been so many Swedish cars in a parking lot at one time. Fuck me. Fuck my dog. It makes me sick at feeling through the trough and watching the hogs. Find more truth than Jethro Tull and Neil Young. Yeah, I'm as old as dirt, and the truth is gonna make you hurt. You give me the Beastie Boys. Anyone who's honest with their noise. Elvis Costello is the greatest genius in a generation of songwriters. Evan Sense and P.O. Day. Turn it up and see if you see what I see. Grieve the death of your father. Grieve the death of your father a few months ago. Grieve the death of every Iraqi father along with his wife and children and brothers and sisters and cousins and nieces and nephews. Grieve the lies and hypocrisy of corporate greed. Take the pensions of old women and old men in need. Why don't we waterboard Ralph Macchio and see if Rumsfeld's theory is true? The whole fucking thing isn't torture. Why don't we try it 10 or 20 rounds and find out if his lies are even gurgling in the death sounds? Bush, the little one, better keep clear of The Hague, because 90% of the world thinks he's evil. 90% thinks he's committed genocide behind the Christian flag of peace, liberty, and the American way. How stupid were these motherfuckers with shock and awe. In the plague, wiped out 70% of America, and we knew the greed of capitalism and all of nuclear weapons were gone. Think of it. If some kind of plague wiped out 70% of all Americans and all of our nuclear weapons somehow were gone, the Soviet Union shocks and awes Manhattan. They blow it to bits. 10,000 9/11s to give us the shit. They want the wondrous ways of Marxist-Leninism. Would you resist? Would you resist if they murdered your friends and family with the most sophisticated weapons that exist?